in the new law that we're trying to pass, basically we're going to have a 48-hour respite where we're going to have nursing care facilities that have a dementia unit and a 24-hour RN that'll be acceptable for this. The patient, the police department, or the first responders will bring them there first. If they can't control them in the 48 hours, then they'll get Baker acted. But at least we're opening up an option for them. Last year, the state of Florida spent $77.4 million on Baker acting. The Baker Act is a court order. If you have no insurance or not even in Medicare, the state's covering up the bill. And a Baker acting starts around $15,000 per Baker Act. What's happening to people that get Baker acted, next thing you know, they got a schizophrenic or bipolar diagnosis added onto them, and they can't even go back to the assisted living that they came out of. And half of the time, it's only a UTI. They're in assisted living, and their behavior gets a little bit out of whack. The assisted living area or the nursing care facility doesn't want to deal with their behavior, so they Baker acted. All that person needed was IV antibiotics, or just put on antibiotics, and the UTI was starting on dealing with it. And it's just out of control on it. So once you get that the psych diagnosis added onto you, your whole life changed for that person after that. So when we put this team together, working with Representative Jim T. Smith, we had the Department of Elder Affairs in there. The Department of Elder Affairs telling me, he goes, well, the reason why they're adding the psych diagnosis because they get better compensated from Medicare than they do on dementia. I'm like, well, shame on them. They don't even see the after effects that they just created for this person. Now, I'm not saying that we're not going to try to stop Baker acting altogether for people with dementia. If we just had a woman here with FTD, she was chasing her husband around with a knife, and she was going to kill that man in her house. But she didn't think that was her husband. She thought it was a stranger in the house. A situation like that, yes, they need to be Baker acted. If they're literally going to do harm to themselves or others, that's what it's Baker acting for. But it's not for somebody that just has a UTI that their behavior's out of whack.